Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! It's a Negro Nonsense Thursday. Hey now! What's going on, all you scallywags, nutmakers? It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. It is always a pleasure to be here. It's been more than a week my wife has been gone, and I have lost, wait for it, 7 pounds. I've lost 7 pounds. She would be proud of me for losing that weight. She'd be disappointed when she found out I wasn't feeding myself because I hate to cook. So, shh, that's our little secret. Don't tell anybody. You hear me? Don't tell anybody. It's just between you and I. Also, I want to thank my wife for doing something that I wish I was there to do. She is currently at the Tuskegee Museum. And she is taking the boy who's coming back here to help us pack as we head out to you guys. She took him to a couple of Tuskegee museums there to, Tuskegee fighter pilots, and, of course, to see the museum, I think, for Booker T. Washington. And I wish I was there for that, especially on a day like on Thursday. And, in fact, we're going to do Negro Nonsense a little different today. And, of course, it was inspired by Eric, who's in Massachusetts, who was watching the show yesterday. I hope he's watching again today. And he is concerned about these rumors about Black history being erased at the Smithsonian. And people have made a lot about this story, but folks, you know how you always get upset about fake news and propaganda? Well, it is not as bad of a problem if you compare it to what happens in the Blackosphere. At sites like NBC Black, by the way, which is a racist name. I wish those folks over there would get it together. There's no such thing as black news. There's just news. And then when you go to their site, it's all about entertainment and like Negro nonsense stuff. The new Jordans. Will you buy them? It's really, really bad. And it should be embarrassing.
Yes, I will.
It should be embarrassing because it is. But if you really want to see propaganda, fake news, and nonsense, go to any one of these ridiculous sites. The Griot. What's another one? I can't remember what. I can't remember what some of them are, but I know that I've seen them all over the place. Ebony, Essence, all of them. Horrible reporting. And it is only made to incense, which is why Negro Nonsense today is going to be a little different. It is. And it's about time that it just gets called out. And a lot of house Negroes who don't like that term are also going to get called out today. And I am going to use a cultural hero that you'll notice many in the civil rights community never, ever mention. And we'll talk about that later on in the program, so stand by. But my opening monologue is about something that it's a tough thing to have a discussion about. But it needs to be said. As I listen to these people on all the news networks talk about this, they will not come to terms with what the facts are. It's not about whether or not there are both sides inciting violence in our country politically. It isn't. It's not about whether or not polling data or statistic data suggests it happens more on the left or the right or the right or the left or who's doing those numbers. It has nothing to do with that. This is what it has to do. The left is having a problem and are making desperate attempts to denounce the violence. But it can't, because there will come a time they have to accept it and deal with it. They are going to have to learn they no longer have control over their party, over their politics, and over civility. They are no longer in charge. They are absentee landlords, and they have been for a long time. And you see it now. Because while everybody is doing whatever they can to fight what we all know to be true, well, we don't know what the motive is. We're not sure. That's not enough information to suggest. While they're fighting all of that is to expose one thing they know is true. And that is, yeah, our side is going for broke. And the only thing we've got left is propaganda. We have to keep repeating that it isn't happening on our side. No, it's happening on both sides. We've got to gaslight everybody into believing, no, do not believe your lying eyes. That's not happening on our side only. It's everywhere. It's because they cannot control these folks anymore. That's the irony in all of this. If you remember 10, 15, even 20 years ago, hosts like myself, the great Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, hell, Hugh Hewitt, I could name so many, Eric Erickson, label mate right here at WTIC. They all repeated something that we knew to be true. Democrats believe in control. You cannot be trusted with your own life. You can't get a job. You can't get an education. You can't get a good job. You can't take care of your family. You can't manage your money. You can't own a gun. You cannot protect yourself. We can't rely on you to vote the way that we need you to vote. It was always about control. And then in a weird, distorted universe, now they have none. Their fringe has completely taken over the party, has made them silent while they run for cover and cover for their base, which has turned into the radical, violent left. They won't even address them. They won't even chastise them when they know they can be coming out and asking them to turn the temperature down. No. They are on television talking about Trump, inciting more of it. Because they know they are doing their bidding. Perhaps, if they're lucky, one of these lunatics will do something so cataclysmic that the Republicans will finally realize they better heal. I'll go back further. Isn't this, for those of you who know, isn't this like the 20s and the 30s, the 40s and the 50s? where the domestic terrorists of that day, the Klan, fought long and hard in terrorizing people to get them to heal. What do the radical left do today if they find out that you are a black conservative? Never in my life have I ever seen such vitriol, such racism. Do you guys remember the story during the recall election of Gavin Newsom? Larry Elder, talk show host, was walking down the street and a white woman ran up behind him in a gorilla mask, throwing bananas at him. Do you remember that? I do. That is the radical left base. And Democrats cannot bring them to heel because to them, quietly, and they can be as mad about this as they want to. I don't give a damn what leftist is listening to me right now. You don't care that your side is standing on roofs shooting AR-15s at ICE agents. You don't care that Donald Trump had 2 attempts on his life. You don't care that Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in front of thousands of children while his own children were there. You don't care about any of that. Because if you did, you wouldn't be giving me the but excuse. I think it's wrong, but. I don't want to see anybody die, but. You will come to the point where you can accept the violence. Why? Because the rest of your ideas suck. You've run out of them. No one wants to listen to you when people are leaving you in droves. And I warned you months ago, right here on this program. I said, what else do they have? They tried everything. And they weren't listened to. And the more they try, what happens? It's quicksand for them. Every event that happens, more and more people go, nah, I can't ride with them anymore. I'm done. I got to get out of here. I'm going somewhere else. I think I'm going to join the Republicans. And while they sit around and go, what are we doing? They go, I don't know, man, but I know we just have to resist. And don't forget the people with all the money. Don't forget the people with all the money, the people who control you. What are they doing? They're financing your demise. They're financing the terrorist wing of your party, giving them money. Some of them have quit their own jobs and become full-time activists, making close to $75,000 to $80,000 a year, we're learning. Organizations are actually being paid to give people $100, $200, $300 a day to march for hours, show up and disappear like clockwork. It's like a flash mob for the left. They know that all of this violence is getting them somewhere. They know that it's scaring people. But it isn't new. You know that. We all know that. Sometimes we live in our own bubble. We not only live in our ideological bubble, but sometimes we live in our own time bubble. We see the world that we live in and we become very myopic. It's like, I don't think I remember it ever being this harsh. It was worse. Grab a friend. You know somebody over 80 years old? Go holler at them. It's nothing new under the sun. We're humans. We repeat ourselves. We just do. Democrats can't say that their side is more violent. They cannot tell their side to heal. Because for them, what's more important than peace is power. Do you understand that? That's the goal. And for them, it's any means necessary. They will hold out for as long as they can. And when another election is lost, and as their power dwindles, they'll become more and more frustrated. The media will ask them, what happened? What's going on? I don't know. They won't have any answers for you because they've never even looked for any. Their base will be more and more angry because they keep losing. What do you mean we're still losing? All of that violence, all of those explosions, all of that attacking the other side didn't get us anywhere with the people? Do you think that they'll stop and they'll go, yeah, maybe let's go in another direction? No, we're talking about the left here. They don't learn. They teach. They teach you a lesson. That's who they are. That's what the anger is about. That's what the violence is about. That's the refusal to communicate with you is about. That is what living in your own silo is about, your own echo chamber. It doesn't have to be that way. All you have to do is just recognize you don't want to be a part of this. Eventually, you will drown them out. But I'm sorry, folks. Let's stop kidding ourselves. Before we get there, we have to go through some rough stuff. They are desperate. That's what they are. They are desperate. And what happens when people get desperate? They do desperate things. So as much as I'm going to take your phone calls and talk about this, as much as I'm going to listen to you and hear from you, we have to come to a realization. While you're upset that they won't just denounce their own violence and keep talking about both sides, that should be a clue to you. Because it shouldn't be too hard to tell your side, guys, let's tone it down. It should be the easiest thing to do. In the breaking news, in the headlines, I'm going to give you an example of that with our very own Chris Murphy and what he said on Morning Joke today. Stick around. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. And the opening monologue, make sure you go back and go to reeseontheradio.com or WTIC.com or download the Odyssey app so you can always catch the opening monologue. It always kind of sets the tone for the show. And today, it's about the desperate attempt by the left to denounce violence will only turn to acceptance of it. And the truth of this is the reluctance and thinking that it actually works. Like, it doesn't matter what the polling data says. People, when you concern yourself about the polling data of Donald Trump, and not with the polling data of people as it relates to problems, that's where you've lost. And I'm going to talk about that roughly around the 3 o'clock hour. Before our guest comes in, and that's Wendy from Newtown, who had some altercations with that particular group we were talking about yesterday. But we'll talk about it in 3 o'clock. But that's where we are today. If you're asking yourself over and over again, it's like, why do they keep doing the both sides thing? And it seems to be a clear way for you to know that the talking points have been sent out is that no matter where you go, they're all repeating the same thing. Like, why would you hear Democrats saying it's on both sides on Fox News? Because remember, what many people believe about Fox News, for those of you who don't watch it, but you have a sneaking suspicion that even the Democrats on Fox News are told what to say. They're not real Democrats. But for those of us who do watch it, and some of you who won't watch The Five if Jessica Tarloff is there, I know who you are. If you listen to Democrats when they're on, they all sound like everybody on MSNBC and CNN and any other network. And if you're asking yourself, wow, that's weird, they're all saying the same thing. That's because they all got the memo. But every rational person knows especially if you consume the news and formats like these, you know what's going on. You don't have to be surprised. You don't even have to care that people are lying to you or gaslighting you. And by the way, I don't even like using that term. I'll stop using it because gaslighting needs a participant. When you start questioning yourself and whether or not you're crazy, that's when the gaslighting is working. So it's an attempt at gaslighting, if anything. Let's go to the phone. Steve is in Springfield. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Reese. Hey, I looked up that Atlantic article about the rising violence in the left, but it was behind the paywall, and it was like, the heck with that.
There is, okay, if you go to look for it again, look for the MSN version of it. Okay?
MSN?
Yes, MSN. So, like, when you type in the headline, you can do that. But there's another way. I don't know if I should give this away online.
So if I go online to the Atlantic article,
just go to Google, right, and just type in what the title of the article is, and Google will give you several versions of it because they want everybody to read it. So they will give what's called the free version of it will be on the MSN website.
MSN. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think there's another really nasty article about Trump too, and that's behind their paywall too. So.
It's the Atlantic,
what
which
else
is
no.
but you know what? And let me tell you why that Atlantic article was written, and it's really simple. It's because of what I just said. No, it's because of what I said in the opening monologue. They know that there is a group of Democrats they have no leadership skills. Barack Obama's done. He can do nothing more for them than give speeches. So they have no real leadership, and they are rudderless. Plus, you got, Kamala Harris, who's out with a book where she's, in essence, just kind of pimp-slapping everybody in the Democrat Party as a form of personal grievance to destroy them. So with this, and having no direction and being rudderless, they have no control over their party, and their party is becoming more and more angry and more radical, which goes back to the Axios article, which you should read, where members came forward and said that their activist class is telling them, we need people to get shot. We need more violence. We need you to put more of your lives at risk. It's over.
But you want to know something that's weird, though? It's like, you got all these terrorist groups or whatever, violent people. They want to shoot ICE agents and shoot up detention facilities.
Yeah.
Isn't that an armed resurrection? Shouldn't they be in the D.C. jail?
It should be
and have
100. Well, with the exception of this young man who took his own life, you're absolutely right. This is insurrectionist behavior, and that's and here's the crazy part. The reason why you'll never hear that on the news, right, is because they want to give you this impression that a bunch of people with flagpoles, right, and signs with no weapons at the Capitol, that's what an insurrection looks like. But people standing outside of an ICE facility with weapons drawn, even shooting an ICE agent in the neck, that's just an altercation.
Plus, there was like 6 women. I guess they set up a distraction outside, and it turned out to be an ambush.
Yep.
For some people at ICE. What about
exactly?
That?
And that is the thing. Remember what we get accused of. We get accused. Maxine Waters, not too long ago, said that the word has gotten out that these armed militias are going to attack us, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Exactly what we're seeing on the other side. Thank you, boss. I appreciate you. Let's go to Dave, who's in Bristol. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Reese. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. What's up?
I'm going to be quick as usual. You sparked a thought in my head. You mentioned all these protesters and how they're being paid. And we all know on the left, they get paid to protest. On the right, we pay our own way.
Right.
So I am thinking a way to maybe knock this down is like, let's go after them for IRS taxes.
I think that's the plan. I think that is the plan. Yeah, I know. I definitely know for certain. In fact, Kim had mentioned something about it, and I said I didn't want her to steal my thunder on it because my source is giving me a lot of details that they're going to give me at least a 48-hour lead on what's coming. And that's it. That's all they'll give me. And that's a lot. instead of a day. So they're giving me a 48-hour lead on something that is coming that is exactly in the area you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm an employer. If I pay somebody more than $600 in any calendar year, I have to send a W-2 out on them. If these people are getting paid $200, $300, $400 per protest, are they claiming taxes on it?
Such a good point. They have to 1099 something because a lot of them are getting paid in cash. They're not getting paid in checks.
It doesn't mean you don't have to claim it.
That's right. It's a good point.
And who's ever paying it is not filing paperwork. Guess what?
100. 100. And the worst part about it is, here's the crazy part. I would love to get that group, Crowds on Demand, and find out when they are given money from these organizations to sort of to develop a crowd for them, how are they paying the crowd? And whether or not they have tax returns we might need to go after.
I think there's a big, easy way to go after these organizations and shut them down.
Exactly.
If they're not paid to go out, they ain't going to be out there.
That's right. 100% right. If there's no incentive, there won't be anybody out there to protest. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Let's go to Doc before we go to a break. Hello, Doc.
Hey, my friend. How you doing?
Pretty good. What's up?
A couple things. Instead of gaslighting, how about blowing smoke?
I like that.
Did you catch the Smurf this morning on MSNBC?
Yes. In fact, I have an audio soundbite from that, which will go directly into my opening monologue. That's why I talked about it. He was the inspiration.
I don't know what his problem is, but, I think his head's somewhere it shouldn't be.
Let me, if I may, I'm not saying this to be controversial for the sake of being controversial. Chris Murphy has something very nefarious under his sleeve, and I'm going to talk about it in the next hour. And I've figured it. I think I figured it out, and it is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. His girlfriend used to work for Soros.
Yeah, I don't think. No. What? Listen to me when I tell you. I hope that you do not miss this. In the next hour, when I do headlines, I'm going to explain to you what I think it is, and I've literally figured it out while I was listening to him on Morning Joke, and I think I'm almost positive that I'm right on this. I'm almost positive, and when I explain it to you, you'll say, "Wow," because it's that kind of narcissism. It is.
Okay, I'm going to be listening.
Okay, you got it. Thanks, boss. Let me take, you know what? Do I have time? I've only got about a minute and a half. Aaron, can I take you in a minute and a half? What do you got?
Sure, I'll make my point real quick. The biggest problem that we have in this country going forward is our media, and that's what's creating the divide between citizens and citizens.
Indeed, I believe it's incitement. I think the overall role of media as an apparatus of the Democrat Party or the left in this country is to incite exactly what you're talking about. And we saw that full bear when it came to Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, all of that.
And may I also say, too, they could easily put an end to this. Trump is a uniting president. There's no president in history that has ever assigned people to boards that ran against him from the opposition party.
Exactly.
That's never happened. That's not spoken about. That should be brought up. That's unifying this country. That's saying, I want ideas from the left. I want ideas from the right. Let's meet in the middle and make this happen. Let's do what's best for the people, not what's best for my agenda or my base. And if the media would actually report that, I think it would change. It'd bring the temperature down a little bit. I don't know if it would change a lot of people's minds, but I think it would help to reduce a little bit.
It would, right? Because you know what it is. It wouldn't be the same 5-alarm fire that you see in all cases. I always look at the media the same way I look at my local news telling me, is my dishwasher killing me? Because that's the way they treat Donald Trump. You know, it's like that's the way in which they report the news every day. It's like, is Donald Trump killing democracy? It's like, who wants to live every day in that? But I'm going to explain that in the next hour, too. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have Simsbury Joe on in a second, and stay tuned. When headlines comes up, I'll explain the Chris Murphy thing. Again, I know what people are going to say after I said it. Are you serious? I'll explain. And I'm on good authority on this one. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
I'm wearing my favorite Star Wars shirt of all time. I just remember this shirt when I was a kid. A lot of people that I knew had it. And then when I've been poor most of my life. So when I could finally buy this shirt, I got it. And I've loved it ever since, of course, because it's got my favorite thing in the world. Fellas will probably get this. Ladies, not so much. The most important thing in the world to me, as far as like an actual thing, is the Millennium Falcon. And I love that ship more than Han Solo does. I love the Millennium Falcon. When I went to Walt Disney World and I saw it, like the physical, like life-size thing at one of the rides, I was talking to the staff to see if Roseanne and I could get married there. They, of course, told me no. I hate those folks. I hate those people. Let's go to Simsbury Joe. What's up, boss?
You know, for Christmas, one of the ideas that I'm thinking about is, because I always have a hard time thinking about what I want when I get asked.
Okay.
Getting a Lego of the Millennium Falcon would not be a bad gift for Joe from Simsbury.
You know what? Again, it's crazy that every guy I know that I'm cool with loves the Millennium Falcon. I have no idea what the appeal is.
It's just a cool ship, and it's almost like a cool car.
Yes.
That goes fast.
Exactly what it is.
But I really liked Revenge of the Jedi because that's where we really got our first exposure to Tim Jabba the Hutt.
Is that his government name?
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
Sometimes if you listen to him when he calls in and you just try to think of how Jabba spoke, you know, you kind of get that same feeling. But, you know, he did a great job in that, so I'm happy for him. So I want to talk real quickly about the whole left-wing violence, because I'm going to take Donald Trump and Pam Bondi to task here in a moment. But I don't know if you had a chance to talk about it, the 2017 Tylenol X posting.
I did not.
They said we don't recommend. Yeah, so for people that don't know, people showed up with a posting, and it's not the only one. Tylenol saying on Twitter at the time, we don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant.
That's right.
And some people are saying, oh, they made that up. That didn't happen. Well, Tylenol came out and said, yeah, that's what we said, and that's what we believe. So now I'm wondering if these women who are shoving Tylenol into their bodies because they don't like Donald Trump, is it going to fall in the category of my body, my choice, or as risk of injury to a minor?
I would go with risk. I would go with the latter, and I'll tell you why. There's a story. Did you see the story in the Gateway Pundit about the nurse who is at the gym? No. Okay, anybody who hasn't gone there, go to the Gateway Pundit. It is thegatewaypundit.com. There's a story there about a nurse. She's at the gym early in the morning. She's talking about a phone call that she got from a pregnant mother's husband, because they want her to go to the hospital to go help them. The woman OD'd on Tylenol as a protest to Donald Trump. According to this woman's TikTok, the woman's now suffering from liver failure.
There's just a severe mental illness. But let me really quick talk about Donald Trump and Pam Bondi.
Yes.
So I love them both, but right now is one of those frustrating moments for me.
Sure.
Donald Trump announced that Antifa was going to be a terrorist organization.
Yes.
We know where a lot of these Antifa people are. We have a lot of these Antifa people on videos in Portland. We have them beating up Andy No, and
I would say just call Andy No. If I'm Pam Bondi, Andy No's the guy I'd call. Like, I brought him into the FBI or bring him to the Department of Justice yesterday.
Exactly. I want to know why these people are not being arrested all over the country.
That's correct.
I honestly, Donald Trump, why are you made a comment?
Mm-hmm.
You find out that the guy who did the ICE shooting, was a commie and also pro-Antifa. Doesn't mean he's a member of Antifa. We see that there was something that happened at Georgetown in terms of some Nazi-related Antifa stuff.
Yep.
How about we just take all the Antifa people and arrest them?
Yep.
Simple concept.
I want to see in a Hollywood type form. I want a scene out of, you remember that part when in Tombstone where Wyatt Earp is riding with the horses, chasing down every red tag, chasing them down. That's what I want to see from the Department of Justice, is getting every one of these folks in. I want them running through the streets and dumping their flags, saying, "I'm not with Antifa." I want that to happen because of the carnage that they set on us for the past, 8 years now? It has to be rectified.
Yeah, they've attacked federal buildings. A lot of them are trans as well.
Yep.
And we know my opinion on trans violence, so time to round them up.
There has to be consequences for aligning yourself with what is now determined as a terrorist organization. 100% right. I got to go, buddy, but thank you, man, as always. And you're right about them. You have every right to be upset at them. Let's get to the WTIC newsroom. John Silva is there. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We'll get to your phone calls in a second, but let's do some headlines. Connecticut teachers advocates can't or won't say the obvious. The teachers suck at their jobs. This is a problem inside the schools. And the fact that these advocates won't acknowledge what's really the problem is why the kids are going to continue to fail. Despite improving statewide test scores, Connecticut education advocates say that declining national proficiency rates reflect persistent issues among students in the state as well. In another sign that students have yet to recover from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, because these people aren't good at their jobs, it's only been 4 or 5 years. They cannot seem to figure it out yet. Federal testing data released this month shows that high school students across the United States have lost ground in math and reading. The latest results from the National Assessment of Education Progress, also known as the nation's report card. Slow math and reading scores among 12th graders and science scores among 8th graders dropped to historic lows in 2024. And if you were listening to the show yesterday, I think I tried to explain to you what part of that problem is.
A very different message is being sent to young people across the country. 3 weeks ago, the journal Education Next released a national survey of high school students asking what messages they have heard from teachers over the last 4 years. Stunningly, 70% of high school students report that their teachers say that, quote, America is a fundamentally racist nation, end quote. With nearly 40% of students say they hear that message often or almost daily. What happens to a nation when its schools express to its students such disdain and selective memory of its own country? My colleague, Catherine Burbelsing, who runs the Michaela Community School, sums it up well when she says, "The West won't fall in Parliament. It will fall in the classroom."
100% right. The anti-ICE gunman, Joshua John, carefully plotted his assault on immigration officers before taking up a sniper position in a Dallas rooftop and expresses desire to instill terror in agents. New information released by the FBI reveals a handwritten note recovered by investigators that said, quote, "Hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror to think. Is there a sniper with AP rounds on the roof?" John, who opened fire at a van near the entrance of an ICE field office in Dallas on Wednesday morning, had conducted multiple searches of the words, quote, "Charlie Kirk shot" video between September 23rd and the 24th, just before the shooting. FBI Director Kash Patel said on X today, in spite of that, yeah, that's what he said. He revealed that he said he found those searches on there. Okay, in spite of that, I forgot that there was a period there. Chris Murphy, he was on Morning Joke and said this.
How important is it for leaders, especially at the very, very top of the government, to set the tone?
Listen, it should not matter whether the radicalization comes from the right or the left or, sort of the non-ideological, deep, dark recesses of the internet. This vice president has had a chance now since the assassination of Charlie Kirk to bring the country together to try to stamp out all sorts of violence, including political violence, and they refuse to do that. What they are trying to do is exploit these murders and these shootings in order to silence only dissent and political opposition on the left. No, criticizing the way that ICE is rounding up people in this country in a deeply inhumane and immoral way is not an incitement to violence. There is a moment where you cross the line, but what they are trying to do is to destroy the ability for people who oppose their policies to legitimately engage in political debate, and we are not going to let them do that.
More on Chris Murphy in a moment. Stand by, we'll get to that. All right, folks, everybody say it with me in unison. Mayor Mamdani. We got to get used to it. It's happening. Just say, come on. Mayor Mamdani of New York City. That's right. He's going to be the new mayor. According to new polling, Democratic mayor nominee Zohran Mamdani holds a dominant 20-point lead in the race for New York City, bolstered by a majority support from Black, Latino, and Asian voters. According to this new poll released on Tuesday, Mamdani leads independent candidate, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, from 45 to 25% among likely voters. Republican nominee comes in third, Curtis Lewa, followed by the incumbent, Mayor Eric Adams, with only 8%, according to a Suffolk University City View poll. So just say it with me. Come on. Mayor Mamdani. And we should all get used to it. It's okay. It's okay. He may not screw it up that bad. There's always hope that he will. I'm just saying. Now, for the stupidest thing I read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
According to a new poll, a majority of Americans believe that democracy isn't working. Why is this the stupidest thing I've read today? It's in the poll. Pessimists appear to outnumber optimists these days, with the new poll showing that Americans believe democracy is not working, among several other jarring findings. The new Quinnipiac poll released on Tuesday found that 53% of citizens believe that American democracy is not working right now, compared to 41% of Americans who believe the system's going fine. Those on the left, unsurprisingly, were more likely to say that the figurative house is burning down, with 74% of polled Democrats saying that the system of democracy in the United States is not working. Perhaps it would be a shock to these bozos if they knew we weren't a democracy. Perhaps it's not working because your optics are wrong. I saw this video the other day where this young black man was talking to two black women, and he says to them, do you believe America is a democracy and it's at risk? And both women, like trained parrots, said, yes, I believe that it is. I absolutely believe that it is. And then he says, so you believe we live in a democracy? And they were like, yes, of course, this is a democracy. And they were absolutely so self-assured. Of course it is. And so he said, can you guys do an exercise with me? And they were like, yeah. Just like, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance? Sadly, one woman did not. But the other woman knew it immediately. And he started saying, okay, say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. And then he stops. And she goes, oh. And the other woman said, oh, yeah, that's right. He goes, so what, are we a democracy? Oh, she was like, oh, why did I think that? Yeah. Why did you think that? I wonder. See, I only use that, my rationale for pointing that video out and why it's so important. is that there are a lot of people who just repeat what they hear. And it's just said to them over and over again, threat to our democracy, threat to our democracy, threat to our democracy. Okay, I'm on that side, and they say it's a threat to democracy, so I'll say it when I'm asked. Is Donald Trump a threat to democracy? Well, yes, because I'm a Democrat, and yes, a threat to democracy is a threat against Democrats, and I'll repeat it. And then you get these people in these very odd moments where they start realizing it. It's almost like, it's like, seriously, it's like they've been woken up out of a trance. It was amazing to watch. It was like the woman just like, oh. It's like blink of an eye, like you're watching a movie when they finally come out of the zombie state. Oh, what happened? Where was I? You were with the Democrat Party. We freed you. You were kidnapped by democracy. We freed you. How long was I out? 4 years. 4 long years. We got you. Here, eat this red M&M. Let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. What's up, Mark?
Hey, so as soon as I heard Chris Murphy, you know what I'm calling about.
Yeah.
What I want to tell people is, what I'm going to explain, I hope you go on Mark from West Hartford on Twitter, is I've been asking the Connecticut Republican Party, I actually asked Matt Corey a little while ago, about 5-6 weeks ago, to do what I did today. Since their messaging is off, you know, I'm there like, why not use the Connecticut Democrat messaging against them? So I went into Hartford, and I've told you before, Chris Murphy not only has an office at the Colt Building, which used to make guns, people. That's where he decided, the one building in Connecticut, that's where his home office is. You can't make it up. You cannot make that up. He also has a residence within hundreds of yards of that office. So I went within probably 1,000 yards at first, and then I was right around the corner, right down the street from his residence.
Right.
And what I did is I asked these people if they've seen him. He refers to the residents in Hartford all the time as his community and his neighborhood when he needs to push, of course, his narrative agenda, whatever he's doing for the day. These people have never seen him. Actually, I had a couple of them tell me he's never in his office. A couple of them said they used to go to his office. They stopped going because he's not even there.
Yeah.
Not even anybody there to take a message. But you know how he walks through Connecticut? So I got a couple of them, and I let them know. Some of them weren't aware of it. Like, where's he walking? I said, well, he's not walking here. Well,
he never does. He doesn't. But again, look, he doesn't care about Hartford like that. Those constituents, he couldn't have a conversation with them if he tried. And to be quite honest with you, I think he's scared to death of them. That's what I think. I think he's afraid of any community that would live in Hartford. That's way. Have you ever listened to him talk? He couldn't have a regular conversation with those folks. He'd be embarrassed.
Well, they would call him out. I think it's more he'd be afraid. You're right. He'd be more afraid than embarrassed because just as you saw the way they spoke to, and I could have spent hours there. The next one I want to do, that was the people out in the street and in the community. I want to go to the business owners.
Yeah.
Who have been suffering with high taxes and crime and everything else should have an interest in his neighborhood.
I got to say this, though, Mark. After watching those videos, right? Now, this is the most astonishing part about this. But then again, you're a Hartford guy. You're a West Hartford guy, but you're a Hartford guy in the sense of this in the community. You are a short Italian guy in the heart of the city, talking to African Americans or blacks, whatever they're called this month, in that community, and catching them on camera to ask them about their public officials. And they were so eager to talk to you and tell you what they thought about him, his non-existence in their community. You felt no threat. You just walked up to him plain as day and just started filming them, talking to him. And they were so eager to talk to you, which is, again, what I keep trying to tell to the Republican Party. If you gave them half a shot, my friend, if they gave them half the shot that you did in those videos, they'd be surprised at what they'd come back with. Surprised.
They're welcome to come with me.
I know.
They know me. They know my number. I've reached out to them. They don't want to know.
But
my next thing is your idea. I'm going to steal your idea, and I'm going to go now with, I've got genderqueer in my house. I ordered it. Because my intent is now to go over there. I'm going to highlight a couple pages, ask some mothers and fathers to open it up. And I guarantee you, most people don't even know about the book, and they don't realize, they don't know who Bob Duff is, and they don't know the push on getting it in their school in Hartford.
In that video, let me tell you something.
I can't wait to get their reaction.
Exactly.
And not only that, I just want to point out one of them, and he was larger. If any of you guys go look at the video, he was larger and spoke. And he said it would be fair enough, he's the guy that said, it would be fair enough if he came around here too. Just don't go where the rich people are. And
exactly.
But he goes to me at the end of it, he goes, now listen, because he realized I was interviewing, there was mostly blacks there. Except there was one of his friends who was right coming up the side. He goes, come here. He goes, you're going to think it's all just blacks here. He's going, I bet you this white dude don't know he lives up around the corner either. So, sure enough, I got that guy. He's one of the last videos. But it was funny that he even knew, here was a guy who knew the optics of
exactly.
Like, hey, I want to help you out. Now, he's helping me out by just him pointing out. It sounds funny, and it is funny, but it also was a message.
Yeah, but that's my point. That's my point here. And it's like, look, and that was the reason why I even expressed that idea, because what you just did was exactly what I said it would be. When you go out there and you talk to them, you'll find out that you'll find out that they are more involved, and also recognize the fact that they have been shut out of that conversation. And seeing you do it should tell everybody, from Fishbein to Fazio to all of them. We got to get our Samson. Yeah, we got to get our butts.
Candelora's got to stop. Candelora, just all he ever does is hide out inside that Capitol and give soundbites. Come out. You were in Hartford.
Exactly.
Where I stood was 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute ride.
Oh, I know exactly where you were. And I barely even know downtown that well. But that's the point I'm making, is that it's unfortunate that in a lot of ways you kind of have to do it first. I always call it like the Master P effect. Right? Nobody wanted to sign Master P to a record label. He had to sell him in his trunk before the record labels came a-calling. That's the way the Republicans are going to work. And when they see you do it, they'll go, oh, that works? And then they'll double back and actually. But you know what? Listen, better late than never, because the importance is get out there and do it now. We've proven that it works.
Just do it. Let them know. And let me tell you, they did mention a couple of other politicians that they were familiar, and these people didn't do much for them, but guess what they did do? They showed up.
That's
and
right.
They remember that. Even if you show up once, they remember you showed up.
Exactly right. Thank you, Mark. As always, sir. Great videos, by the way. Check them out. Mark and West Hartford on X. Thanks, man. Let me just make this point about Chris Murphy before I get out of here. And I'm only going to be careful because I know that some people who listen to this will say, he said. Listen very closely. Because to be honest with you, I am flying towards the sun on this one. But I want you to think about this. And it should be recognized. I already asked the question, why is Chris Murphy going above and beyond to make a spectacle of himself when it comes to Donald Trump? Why is it? Doesn't matter what it is. He is constantly Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. When the violence is going on and people are shot and killed, he's now saying, oh, he's just trying to silence us. He's just trying to silence us. Why is he going in the opposite direction? Why is he saying that Donald Trump is using the political assassination of Charlie Kirk to shut people up? Why is he doing it? It doesn't make sense. Now, a lot of people, you all have out there been saying, well, he just clearly he wants to run for president. Yes, that may be true. But there is something else. And it is very dark, and it is very ugly. And it's got to be addressed. Chris Murphy is trying to incite his own, let's say, physical situation. That's all it's about. He is trying to, think about what he is saying. Donald Trump is using this murder to silence others. What would give Chris Murphy the biggest profile ever? What would shoot him to the stratosphere? What would? somebody coming after him, somebody doing what's already happening to everyone, why would you incite this kind of thing? Why would you not be keeping the temperature down? Why would you? And again, he is one of the only people who has openly expressed the fact that he refuses to let up. Knowing that everybody in the country is saying, tone it down. He's like, nope, he's trying to shut us up. Because he's hoping that somebody on the right gets beside themselves. That's it. Imagine his profile. He's sitting at 1%. He's everywhere, folks, everywhere. No matter where you look, polling at 1%, but some odd reason, $10 million in his coffers. Seems to fundraise quite well. Why is he all over the country on these tours? Why? He's everywhere but where he should be. Why is he all over the country? We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
Hey, did you hear? It's our birthday, 100 years. Did you happen to get us a present?
Nope. But anyway, Reese on the radio on WTIC. In about 4:05, we're going to have Wendy from Newtown calling in. She's going to talk about her altercation a couple of years back when she was assaulted in Newtown. And it was related to the Newtown Allies for Change story we've been talking about a little bit this week. And Wendy's going to come on and tell her story about her relationship with this group. And it's harrowing and quite scary if you think about it, with what she dealt with in this altercation, where it happened, and what transpired thereafter. And there's so much more on this story that we'll be talking about it for quite some time. All right, so stand by for that. Also, we'll get to your phone calls in a second. In this hour or this half hour, we'll talk about how everything isn't politics, but you have to ask yourself, why does it feel like it is? I'll explain when we get the opportunity. But let me get to some phones. 860-522-WTIC. Hello, Ralph.
Good afternoon. I have a couple things. First of all, Chris Murphy has got the brain of a gnat, a very small gnat. He's nothing but a political hack. Well, I'm not exactly sure what his ambitions are, but to be a good human being certainly isn't one of them.
No, I think, and I really do believe this, is that he is trying to raise his profile by any means necessary. And I think he is trying to get some radical person on the right to put him in a position where he can say, see, it's because of Donald Trump. He sees that I'm a threat. And that will bolster his notoriety and his fame.
But he may get some real nutcase on right that's going to...
I hope he doesn't. But again, I don't put it past him.
What's the old saying? Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
My first question, Reese, is what is a fascist?
It's usually anything the left is doing.
I will guarantee you, Reese, if you ask all these people that are saying fascist and you ask them what is a fascist, 99% or more will not be able to answer the question.
Also, it's because they don't, they'll never be asked to, because they'll never communicate with someone who would want to know. They would be around people who would just repeat it. They wouldn't even sit around at a dinner table and go, hey, do you ever wonder if we know what the word fascism means? They never would. But they don't self-check anyway.
Right.
So.
Now, I'm the kind of person, I love my country. I really do. And I believe in the Constitution and what it affords us. And I'm a fascist? Please. Just because I believe what our forefathers gave us.
But, Ralph, you don't have to. Listen, let me tell you something. You don't have to worry about what they think of you. Everything that they think is irrelevant, and that's why we have to treat it as such. But we do have to understand, because they are irrelevant, that they will then behave like petulant children. We just have to watch them. We don't have to listen. We just have to watch them. That's all you need to do. Thank you, boss man. Let me go to Tim in Broadbrook. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. How you doing? It's good to hear you on the radio. It's good to be on the radio to talk about what a moron Chris Murphy is. How about Duck blew them all? There's another one. He's kind of under the radar right now. He's trying not to get any shrapnel from his stupidity.
You know what?
If you combine the two of them, they've done nothing, absolutely nothing for the state of Connecticut. They're up there playing politics, telling us not to play politics. And in the meantime, we have real politicians. You know who I'm really disappointed in? Bob Stefanowski. He's like the Bernie Madoff or he took the payout because he was so close the last time. He could have beat Lamont. Instead, he took the payout. They probably gave him a house or something. He just dropped his guard in the end.
What can I? Let me ask you this: Do you think Stefanowski will run again? I doubt it because we got Fazio and we got Stewart who are running now.
I think the Republican Party isn't supporting him, so it's got to be the Democrats who are supporting him, and they're only supporting him because they know in the end they'll turn tail and run.
What do you
think?
If
they got dirt on him or something? Who knows?
Nah, I don't think.
Dropped the ball in the last 3 months. Of the campaign.
I gave him hell. He was on the program. I gave him hell.
I remember.
Because, that whole thing about, that little tax break, which I thought was just pennies on the dollar, it just didn't work for me. And people still forget when they say, it was like, oh, you only stick up for your side. I'm like, Stefanowski was on my program because I was giving him hell. So you're right in the sense of I don't think he put a lot of effort in that last couple of months. And even with that, I'll tell you this, Tim, which baffled me. We're talking about an election that was decided by 174,000. And a lot of people look at that and say, well, that's a wide margin. I'm like, no, it isn't. Not in Connecticut. You'd be surprised at the gap.
And the elections in Connecticut aren't fair. I don't care what they say. They stuffed the ballot boxes in every one of these cities. They caught them in Bridgeport because Bridgeport just doesn't care. They go,
Such a great point.
The quiet part out loud, it's not even the quiet part out loud. They just do it right in your face. And they've been doing it for so many years.
Tim, you make a great point because think about this, right? Without the Wanda Pataki scandal in the mayoral race, how do you look at that and see it in a vacuum? Like, how do you look at that and say, well, if they were doing this right in front of everybody's eyes for the mayor's race, who's to say they weren't doing it for the state campaign?
That's exactly it.
This wasn't a one-off.
We need Ken Nelson, who's the mayor of Enfield, the guy who cares about the people of Enfield. We need him as the governor.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say enough. That guy, when you got a problem, you call him up. He's right there on the spot. He doesn't even get paid, and he's there anyway. In his spare time, which he has none because he's the mayor of Enfield. But I mean, he's all over it. Like if I have a friend or something that has a problem with a building permit, I call him. He calls the building department. Boom, right away, it's all done. Remember when we used to have politicians? Ann Usello in Hartford. I don't know if you were around.
No.
Usello was one of those. George Assenson in Hartford was one of those people that if you called him and you had a problem, he straightened it out. He didn't delegate the responsibility to somebody else. He took care of it. And that's what we need.
Do you think that at that time it was a lot more small ball than it is today because there's just way too many? I think the biggest problem we have is that we have too much. People keep saying that elected officials cater too much to big money. That may be true, but I think today they cater too much to the activist class. That's what I think the problem is.
They're looking into the free agency market.
Yeah.
What I mean, name, image, and likeness. What am I worth somewhere down the road in a contract?
Yeah.
These mattresses or some shit.
God.
It's crazy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. We got to dump that last one with the S word. It's okay. I think that people just get comfortable with talking to Reese on the radio. They think they're just shooting the breeze. They'll throw in a little S word in there. It's okay. My apologies. Before we go to break, this is, I got 3 minutes? Less than that. So a lot of people think that everything that we do is politics, right? Like, why is it always politics all the time? It isn't. Why does it feel like it's always politics? There's a reason. It's because people can't stay away from it because everything else is boring. And politics are really hot. Politics has conflict. And people need conflict in their lives. Not everybody, but people do. And politics is just that place to go. It's a blood sport. It also involves right and wrong and knowledge, intelligence. Some people live off the I'm smarter than you or I'm just as smart as you. What do you think, I'm stupid? Which, of course, breeds the conflict. That's where we are. There's also the folks that want to know and be informed. And if you're not informed, you feel like you're out of the loop. And then when you talk to people who are outside of the loop, you look at them and you go, where have you been? Under a rock? How are you not paying attention to this? It's what's hot. But the worst part is that politics started bleeding over into everyday life. Everything became politics. The music you listen to became politics. Don't believe me? Check out your usual conversations about country music and you'll know. Even country music awards became a part of what? Politics. You might remember a couple of years back when Carrie Underwood was hosting the CMAs, and her and I think Brad Paisley did their opening monologue, poking fun at the Obama administration. It didn't have to be about politics, but it was. Because again, people think that everything has sort of been politicized. Because some people have. There's always an angle. Sports has become politicized. Thanks, Colin. We'll take a break. More news, more views. Don't forget, we got Wendy in Newtown calling up. She's got a very harrowing story about her encounter with the Newtown Allies for Change that happened about 3 years ago. We'll get to that as well. Plus, we'll get to your phone calls as well at 860-522-WTIC. So stand by. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, and stand by in a little bit. We'll talk about my video on Governor Lamont and his response to Jimmy Kimmel not being on WTNH. I've got that for you coming up real soon, so stand by for that. It is an interesting video that, oddly enough, no one seemed to notice that there's a degree of doublespeak from Governor Oakley Doakley. And I'll play that for you in a little bit. Let's get to the phone. Scott is in Glastonbury. How are you, Scott?
Good. How you doing today?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
Just had a tidbit about, I don't know if you saw anything about the ostrich farm in Canada and how they actually took COVID and cured it through ostriches. And now they're trying to kill them all. You got to look that up and check that out.
My God, no, I did. I don't really.
Pretty fascinating.
The audience makes so many demands on keeping it local. I really try not to do a lot of international news. I didn't know that. Okay, so it's Oxford and ostriches.
It's ostriches, and it's in Canada, and they actually infected them with COVID, and they made natural antibodies for COVID, so you can get rid of big pharma. It's a huge story.
Okay, I will definitely check it out. Thank you, Scott.
Check it out. So, hey, have a great day. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Let's get Gio in Canton. I've got time for him. What's up, Gio?
Hey, Reese. I wanted to talk about the Jimmy Kimmel debacle. I feel like it's very overplayed, especially I would argue that, what's his name? Ryan Kilmeade had an interesting moment on air, and Jesse Waters recently had a pretty interesting moment on air, which has not been out in the public.
You're talking about Kilmeade and homeless people and Waters on the UN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking
Come on, man. It's my job to know, Gio. It's my job to know. I know exactly what was said. I know what everybody is buzzing about. And there's a reason why I never bring attention to the ones that matter, that are important. But the other ones, I know about them because I have to make sure that I'm abreast to them. But I'll give you a perfect example of what this Jimmy Kimmel thing is exposing about a lot of people. And that is this. It is never about successful messaging, it is always about the message. And for Kilmeade and Jesse Waters, these guys have millions of viewers. Kimmel does not, but his message is important. And the fact that he was being pulled off the air, they needed a scapegoat. And no one would even suggest that Kimmel is profitable for ABC. And he isn't. He's absolutely not. He's not doing any good numbers that matter anywhere. In fact, his suspension got him more viewers than he's ever gotten in his entire career on late night. And guess what? Yeah. He's going to fall. He's going to fall right off exactly as he was. And when the point comes when they go, hey, can we keep him? ABC will be forced to go no, or they will be forced to lose money because of him. But
but my argument would be the FTC overstepping and the government
overstepping. Okay. Overstepping by saying something publicly, or overstepping by sending a letter to Sinclair, sending a letter to Nexstar, and telling them, you better do this or else?
Yeah, that's the overstepping part.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They didn't do the latter. Hold on. They didn't. But, Gio, they didn't do the latter. The second thing was made up. They didn't do that. He publicly said, Brandon Carr said, that in other shoes will drop. Never sent the letter. Never threatened him with it. This was Nexstar and Sinclair's decision. And if you go by the governor today or yesterday, what did he say to WFSB? He said, I want WTNH to put him back on the air, which again means Trump had no power in the first place, which is, again, what they realized after the fact. But thank you, Gio. I appreciate you. He never had any power. Never. Let's get another check, or our first check of weather and traffic for the show. I think Scott Homan is being held hostage in a basement somewhere. Somebody pay that ransom. He's in for Bob Larson and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let's do the thing.
Savory, flavory, bagel, deli, and bakery. Between rounds.
Congratulations, Sonia F. in Tallinn. She is today's winner of the Dozen Bagels a Month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. If you'd like to win, you got to go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. Must live in the state of Connecticut and cannot have won within the last 6 months from today. That's right. ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Go there now. Check out our Substack. Check out the podcast. Check out anything you want to on ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Yeah, I'm trying really, really hard. When we come back, we are going to have Wendy. She is out of Newtown. She's going to talk to us about an encounter that she experienced during her time in Newtown. She's lived there for 6 years, and she had a run-in with one of the members of the Newtown Allies for Change. She'll talk about that experience with us so you can sort of get the depth of what individuals are going through in that town and why it needs to be put to a stop. We'll do that shortly. Also, later on in the program, don't forget, we have Negro Nonsense. You do not want to miss it. We're going to do something a little bit different. Also, we'll talk about a revelation in Kamala Harris's book that is blowing my mind. Who would have thought that Kamala Harris was the inspiration and the mentor of one Jasmine Crockett in Tubbs? Who would have thunk it? Sister girl. Hard to believe that an authentic black woman was getting tutelage from an alleged one. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. It just is. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. I do believe Scott Homan is doing weather today, but Mark Christopher, he's here. And he's in the BPS Traffic Center. You'll be here tomorrow, right? I know you're taking off one of the day parts you're going to be going. Is it tomorrow morning?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Okay, tomorrow morning. Okay, that's what I thought it was.
I'll be here tomorrow afternoon.
Because sometimes I get these memos late or I don't read them in time.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. I totally get it.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, everybody, we are back, and as promised, a guest is on the program. We're not going to reveal her last name because it's not important to, but she is a resident of the Newtown area, has lived there for about 6 years. She is a very active individual in her community, always has been. It is in her background. Now, I've been talking about Wendy for the last day or so, or day at least, since I've communicated with her. And I want to express something that's very important, because what many people have come to realize is that these particular people are supposed to be very pro-black and very, indigenous, people of color kind of deal, the BIPOC community. And Wendy, being a part of this, she was ripe for these particular individuals. And if I may, before Wendy comes on the air, let me read why she was even involved in these people or why they sought her out. This is her resume. She worked for UNICEF as an ambassador for 5 years. She volunteered during doing clean water advocacy in Africa and India. She taught early childhood education and an advocate for 15 years. During Hurricane Maria, when it affected Puerto Rico, she went to Puerto Rico to not only help her family, but others who were in need of help. She collected items and had help for a few council members in boxes and helped deliver them. She was a volunteer at a Bridgeport food banks, helping homeless people with food and shelter. She started a dance group for inner city kids for children 20 years ago and performed in New York City at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Okay? She was also a boys soccer coach. And she was the only female Latina. She is Puerto Rican. And Wendy joins us now, who had an altercation with one of the members of this group called the Newtown Allies for Change. And if I might add, Wendy, you were called the Latina or the Latin slur word that starts with an S and ends with a C in this altercation. Is that correct, by a black woman?
Yeah, hood.
Yes.
S ends with a C, yes.
Yes. Okay, so tell us about your introduction into the Newtown Allies for Change.
So it basically started with a member who wanted to join the PTA.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the PTA board, and some parents came to me concerned that they don't think this person should be running. And as a vice president, if I could mention it, and they showed me some things, and I said, oh, wow, yeah, I will bring this up to the board. I will make sure that we will, figure this out. And then this person contacted me and said, well, let me tell you my side of my story, and let me tell you, and that this person was part of Newtown Allies. And she's like, we would love to have you. And I said, okay, well, what is it about? And she said to me, well, we are about, Black Lives Matter. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I said, I'm all for it, but if we're going to do this, we should represent everyone. We have in Newtown, we have Latinos, we have Asians, we have Muslims, we have Jewish people. And right there, that's when she's like, right there, that's your problem. I said, well, what's my problem? You're racist. I said, because I'm telling you that if I'm going to come into this and see what it's about, I want to represent everyone. Nope, you're the problem. Maybe I'm suggesting that you read some books. And they gave me a list of books, and I looked at them, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should suggest some books for you on, Latin culture and Muslim culture, etc. And then it became ugly. It started to harassment on Facebook.
And this was just because and this is the thing. This is the interesting part. I don't want it to get lost on the audience. So this went south because you wanted to be inclusive of all people of color, including Muslims and Jewish people. You weren't even advocating for white folks. You just wanted other people of color to be included, considering they're an organization of Black, Indigenous, and people of color.
Yes. Absolutely, that's what I wanted. I wanted everyone to be included. And so that's when the harassment, she's racist, she's this, she's that. Then it started getting personal. It came after my children.
Talk to me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about what you can reveal as far as coming after your children.
As you said, I am Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids are mixed.
Okay.
Do my kids look Latino? No, they don't. Absolutely, they don't. And so their picture was posted on a member's page, and this person asked, do you think these kids will ever encounter racism? Now, I got to tell you, anybody that knows me knows I'm someone that I will take the shirt off my back and give it to you. I am there to help you in any way. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what I'm that person. But when you come after my kids, that's when I saw red. So I confronted this person. I said, stop harassing, take my kids down, stop. I went to the school. School wouldn't do anything. Then in comes Danielle.
Okay.
She posts online that she's going to expose me and my family for who we are.
Right.
Which
Now,
I don't know what that means.
if you're just joining us, Danielle is the person in question in the story that we are covering out of the Connecticut Sentinel. This is Danielle Slaughter. Is it Lozer?
Yes.
Yes, Lozer. And
yes.
You had a sort of back and forth with her because she went online and this, in essence, she started targeting you herself.
Her and her best friend were constantly targeting me, along with this other person's husband was also targeting me.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, this member was following me, knowing my every move every morning. I usually go to a Starbucks in an area that I'm known. I go every morning.
Sure.
And that day I was actually meeting with a friend that I haven't seen in a while. And in comes this member and started saying really nasty things, got in my face. So I stood up and I said, if you think that
wait, hold on. Wendy, you're missing a very key point of this. The person who accosted you arrived with someone. Who was that person?
Her husband.
Right.
He blocked the door.
The husband blocked the door in the event that you tried to escape while you were inside. By the way, my wife, when I told her this story, my wife was listening as I was telling this story, I was telling her the story, and she said, that is actually kidnapping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
She got in my face, and she's like, she said a lot of things that I can't say because it was curse words, and I said, listen, you came to the wrong Newtown, Mom. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to back down. She went to try to swing at me. And at that point, I swung back, hit her. She fell. Her husband then grabs me and says, get off of her. I'm like, oh, no. You're not going to touch me or you're next. Starbucks manager said, hey, Wendy, because they know me, do you want me to call the police? I said, absolutely. She gets back up. She calls me that S word.
Right.
And I said, wow, Miss, standing up for people and you're calling me that. I'm like, okay, that's great. You do know that there's cameras in this place. So, if we get footage of this, you're going to be known for saying it.
Yeah.
So 5 cops come. Wow. 5 cops.
You think it was a brawl?
I look outside and I see I believe the president of the Allies there. She got there.
Yeah, no, actually, this is the vice chair. The vice chair is who you saw.
The vice chair, yes. She shows up to basically defend this person, and it didn't go that way. The police got a statement from workers, got my statement. They looked at the cameras to see what happened, and at the end, this person was given a citation to show up to court.
Desk appearance, yeah.
Charged.
And
after that,
then there's been, since this altercation, as it were, and I guess because you are willing to fight and stand up for yourself, did the harassment immediately stop, or has, what's that been like post that?
It continued a little bit where she was bragging that, she beat me up and that, I was scared of her and all this. So then somehow the police report got out there, and it's public information. The police report got out there and the truth was out there. That's when Danielle Lawser said, everyone is backing this woman, but you're going to find out who she is. Now, I went to the school then. I went to the school and spoke to the principal. I said, listen, I have a problem. We have now a teacher that's involved, and I worry that my kids are going to be part of some retaliation. Well, the principal says at the time, we can't do anything. It was after work hours, whatever she posted. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, I used to be an educator, and I remember I was told that if I posted anything inappropriate or anything to look that I would be fired. He said, well, there's nothing we can do. I'm like, okay. So I had screenshots of her, of Danielle, and her friends. I went to the superintendent. At that time, he was new. He was only been there about a year. He says, listen, we'll transfer your kids out. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll deal with it. I'll take the kids transferred out. Great, fantastic. And that was it. There was no, we'll talk to this person. We'll figure this out. No, it was kind of like, we'll give you a transfer, be quiet, move on.
And so from what we've seen so far, that behavior has been rewarded with more of the same, because we get to where we are today with this posting of very inflammatory things and no one seeming to stand up, and even the people who are responsible for doing something about it, not doing anything. Especially, I mean, this point that you make about, making threats about information with you that is going to come out to the public, while she is a teacher in a lot of ways. I mean, she is an employee of the school that your children attend, which now you have to be on edge on whether or not your children, because you already know that there is an atmosphere where they will expose your children online.
Yes.
And now your children are going to be in the school while you're at work or doing whatever, and now they are vulnerable to threats that may be pushed by this individual who's got an axe to grind.
Like I said, I didn't care that they were bad-mouthing me and putting me down and saying all these things. It's when you came after my kids, and that to me, and I would hope people would agree, that's a big no-no.
Like, of course it is. I don't think you need to convince a soul.
And then, things died down. I stayed quiet. I left it alone. And then last year there was a mom's night out. At one of my best friends was hosting a mom's night out. Now, I've never shared this. Okay, because I left it alone. I was like, I don't want to make a big deal, but I'm going to share this because after seeing some of her posts and seeing some threats to these, Newtown residents, I'm like, you know what, this has to stop. We had a mom's night out. In comes the member that I fought.
Mm-hmm.
She's a mom's night. Somebody, I guess, told her. I know who told her that I was going to be there. Shows up there getting ready to fight.
Wow.
Within 10 minutes, kid you not, Danielle Lauser walks in. We're here. We're going to fight you. We're going to mess you up. We're going to beat you up. We're going to do this. And I said, listen, you're outnumbered here. I have friends here. If you want, we can go outside. We can take this. Again, I'm somebody I will not stand on. I don't care. And I was just shocked that this person is supposed to be a teacher and is showing up at a mom's night out, a private event, looking for a fight.
Wow.
And so,
and this is Wendy. Let me stop you for a second because we got to go to a break. We're gonna end this conversation, unfortunately. But I do want to hear this just to put a bow on this. This is not quietly known. This is not an unknown secret. This is public in the town of Newtown because it's small. It's a small area. A lot of people know that this is going on and have not spoken up. Yes?
And so, yes. And what I want to say is to anyone, that's listening out of Newtown, I have a lot of love for Newtown. I've been there for 6 years. I've never encountered any kind of racism, any mean, nasty comment other than this group and the people in this group. I want to tell Newtown this. Don't be afraid, okay? Don't be afraid. We are supposed to be a town that is supposedly we're be kind. That's our motto. That's why I'm here. That's why I moved my kids here, because I wanted them to have the best education and the best family-oriented place. I'm telling you, do not let this group push you and bully you, because I'm telling you, it's all fire. It's all fire. Yes, they came to me and they did what they did, but I promise you that they're not going to do that again after what happened. They're just going to keep talking and keep talking.
Yeah, but it's got it. You know what? This is moments like this that you address that because, and from what I'm gathering, I'm working on talking to the gentleman who owns the pizzeria who was targeted. I'm also working on the other restaurant that was targeted by this group because this is political terrorism. in such a way. It's a form of terrorism. I don't know how other ways that you slice it. And that's, again, and it is happening under this guise of inclusivity while people are being ostracized and threatened and in some ways extorted, which is insane.
I agree. And I truly believe, and like we spoke privately, I said, regardless of what our beliefs are, regardless of what we think politically, we should be able as adults to, we could disagree, okay? We can disagree with things, but why are we becoming violent? Why is this group just not able to just make your point and let it be? Why do we have to go after people and be nasty? And it's just, we're failing our kids. Our kids are watching. We're learning from our children. And this is a teacher that, kids know and see. And, Lord forbid, what if a kid says in front of this person, oh, I like Donald Trump? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
After seeing all the things that she writes, what she might say to that child? That's scary.
Yeah.
Newtown, open your eyes. Open your eyes. This is our children and their education. Our test scores are low. Our reading is low. We need to focus on that. And we need the right teachers to be teaching our kids, not to sit here and make us hate.
Wendy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we'll talk later. I really appreciate you. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much again.
Not a problem. Wendy out of Newtown. We'll take a break. We'll get some more weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yep, we're back. Reese on the radio. Thank you, Wendy. Really, really appreciate Wendy from Newtown joining the program today. Pressed on both those things. And getting us some insight on that. We're going to be talking to a restaurant owner in that area as well. We'll talk to him and his efforts to sort of push back on these folks and his own political beliefs. And I'm stunned by something like this happening in this day and age. And I'm on their website now and looking at the leadership of these folks. And the crazy part is, and I have to play this because, no, I'm going to wait for it. Okay, so today's Negro nonsense, it involves the Newtown Allies for Change. You don't want to miss it. When we come back, I'll explain to you. And we're going to use a civil rights leader who's never, ever mentioned in the civil rights movement. And when I say this is a big name they never talk about, it is because of things like I'm going to play in a little while. This is the reason why they never mention him. And they only mention him when he's convenient. Other times it's Martin Luther King Jr. Medgar Evers is another one. W.E.B. Du Bois. They never mention Booker T. Washington, by the way. You notice that? They never do. Never mention Booker T. Washington. Here's why. Booker T. Washington did not believe in grievance. He was teaching blacks to be able to fend for themselves. He believed in that. He said the best thing that happened to African Americans was for them to find their own station in life and make good on the abilities that they had. He made sure that they learned. It was important to learn. It was important to start your own business. It was important to be industrious. While in the North, now think about that, Booker T. Washington is in Tuskegee. W.E. Du Bois is in New York, hanging out with a couple of white folks at the NAACP. And what was his mission? Well, you need the white man to take care of you, and we need to demand that they give us what we are owed. Industrious, we don't need none of that. And what was Booker T doing? Pushing back on that. He was sending all of the people who learned to trade, who learned to start businesses, and said, go north and prosper. And they were in Philadelphia, and they were in New York. And they were opening up businesses. And we're not talking about clothing lines and barbershops, which for some odd reason is running rampant. We don't need another beauty shop. We don't need another basketball player. We need some electricians, perhaps a plumber. HVAC, anybody?
The NAACP calls him
wrong.
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, Wendy said something in the chat room. She said they went after a mom who saw inappropriate books in the school library. And if you saw the book, yes, it has no business in kids' schools. Yeah, there was there's a book in the Newtown schools this woman is talking about. I have the audio for it. I'm saving it for next week for a particular reason because I needed to coincide with what Mark is doing in Hartford with the book Genderqueer. And this book that this woman describes, Wendy's described it to me as well. This book that was in the child's library is so graphic that I can't even explain to you what's in the book. Like I'd have to be very careful. And even describing it, I can't describe it. It's that crazy that this book, and a kid brought it home from the library. Brought it home from the library. It's like, where'd you get that book from? The parent, I think it was Wendy, in fact, said, where'd you get that book from? It's in the library. And as I said a long time ago, this is the kind of stuff that they don't realize. That when you're going through I'll never forget it. I grabbed a book off the shelf because it had my name on it and had a funny title. It just said, I was supposed to go to the library and get a book. I saw a book and had a name on it and I grabbed it. Well, what do you think that kids will do if one kid knows that there is a book? Knowing that there is a book that has that kind of suggestive stuff in it. Other kids know it's there. So kids are going to do what kids do. Come here. Did you ever see this book? Look. That's what happens. You all were kids. Come on, I don't have to explain this to you. But then if you found out that this stuff was in that book and your kids were seeing it, you'd lose your mind. And when I tell you, I can't even tell you. Wait until after the show. When we go off the air and we do I'll explain to you what's in the book. It's that bad. Governor Lamont, you may have heard in the top and the bottom of the hour with John Silva talking about people protesting WTNH because WTNH will not air Jimmy Kimmel because of course, the Next Star and Sinclair ban on the show until Jimmy Kimmel formally apologizes. They're not going to distribute his show to their public. And they're sick and tired of hearing this sort of partisan nonsense happening on these late-night shows. And the story, if you look deep, folks, for those of you who are out there protesting, by the way, shame on you. You don't know anything about free speech. The fact that you were paying attention to Jimmy Kimmel and you missed the Google story shows exactly how disingenuous you are. Okay? The Google story was huge. It is the story. That was a direct directive from the President of the United States shutting down free speech. You don't know what you're talking about if you think that Jimmy Kimmel in some way was stopped from talking because a little TV show got put on hiatus by his bosses for a little time. He's back. And if you want to watch him, do what everybody else does. Go online. You're not really begging for a television program you're not going to watch, are you? Everybody watches things online. Everybody. You don't even need to watch it on regular television. So please spare me that nonsense. And while we're doing that, please let's pay attention to the ridiculous statement by Governor Oakley Dokley. You may know him as Governor Ned Lamont. I know him as Governor Oakley Dokley because he reminds me of Ned Flanders. Oakley Dokley. He just sounds like that when he talks. No real fire in his belly. But I want you to listen to what he said to WFSB. And I don't know whether or not he was thinking, or maybe he's getting up there in age. But in one breath, he has a problem with the government making a decision about airing a program. And then, in true Lamont fashion, tells a business what they should do. Like he forgot he's the government.
I think if you're a champion of free speech, you want to make sure government does not get in the way and corporations can't tell us what's appropriate political satire or not. I want WTNH to get them back on the air.
What?
I think if you're a champion of free speech, you want to make sure government does not get in the way and corporations can't tell us what's appropriate political satire or not.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Government doesn't get in the way and corporations can't tell us? It's their product. You're going to tell me that you're going to now demand a corporation do your bidding? Make sure you listen to it again. And again, I look at no offense, but I really do. This is going to be inflammatory, but I don't care. I really do think the man is stupid. I really do. And I think the people who echo this are just as dumb. Think about what he just said. He doesn't believe that the government should get involved and then goes in to get involved.
I think if you're a champion of free speech, you want to make sure government does not get in the way.
That government doesn't get in the way. Ned Lamont is government.
Corporations can't tell us what's appropriate political satire.
Corporations can't tell us what? It's their product. Jimmy Kimmel is not just freely, if he wishes to, he can. He can open up a YouTube page like the rest of us, and he can say whatever he wants. And on the front, Ned Lamont, of this corporations telling people what they can and cannot say, where were you on the Google scandal, my friend? Where were you when everybody else wanted to talk about COVID-19 or wanted to talk about the vaccines? Where were you? Were you screaming and hollering about YouTube or about Google being able to silence people's conversations? Where were you when we were hearing published reports that phone companies like AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile were actually thinking about censoring text messages between customers? Where were you on that? Nowhere? That's right, because I searched. You didn't say a word.
Or not, I want WTNH to get them back on the air.
Now, if I'm WTNH, I would tell him, pound sand, eat a bag of donuts. I thought you just said that the government shouldn't get involved or tell us what to do. We're going to follow your lead there, buddy. Jimmy ain't coming back. I would never bring him back. And please, on this nonsense about free speech, did you see the data about how many conservatives are seen on these programs? Well, now you'll probably flip on me, right? Well, they're private companies. They can talk to whomever they want. I applaud you, dum-dum. Thank you. Thank you, stupid. That was our point. That was exactly our point. They can put on their program anyone that they want to. So can Nexstar. So can Sinclair. You see how that was? I just did the Pledge of Allegiance thing with you. Come on, read it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. See, oh, we're a republic. See, you open up your eyes. Oh, look. They'll slap you in the side of the face. Where was I? You were in the Democrat zone. You're back now. I can't believe he said it.
I think if you're a champion of free speech, you want to make sure government does not get in the way and corporations can't tell us what's appropriate political satire or not. I want WTNH to get them back on the air.
Now, I know, look, he was just in front of a camera. There was no real reporter there. They don't know any better. And then again, they're just not that smart. They just aren't. I know that a lot of people think that these political leaders, they know what they're doing. They're very intelligent. They're not. Common sense would have told them that everything he just said was a contradiction, but he couldn't help himself. He stuck his foot right in his mouth. But now everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Is that what they want is to censor speech. That's it. That's all they want. They want their speech to reign. Your speech, my speech, they want to quell. I get it all day, every day. You'd be surprised at the messages that I get from left-wingers. You said such and such, and this person said such and such. And my response to them is like, so? I don't care. Like, why would you tell me that somebody else said? I don't care. Yeah, but they're a part of your team. So, I don't care. When these folks make these moral points, they think they're on the right side of it, that's what causes dumb things like that to happen. Because Ned doesn't get challenged. As I said on this program, and I am on good authority, he's very sheltered. He lives in his own little plastic bubble. And everybody protects him. Don't ask him any tough questions. No. He's a prepared statement. That's it. No follow-ups, please. No, he's going to trip. No, please, don't do it. Poor Oakley Dokley. Poor Oakley Dokley. I feel bad. I shouldn't beat up on him. I try. I try not to, but here I am. And I heard it. I couldn't. What the hell? I'll play it again.
I think if you're a champion of free speech, you want to make sure government does not get in the way and corporations can't tell us what's appropriate political satire or not. I want WTIC to get them back on the air.
By the way, has anybody seen or heard from WTNH? Can somebody at TNH, hey, Mark, give TNH a call and see if we can get the brass at TNH to read a statement to Governor Lamont, something like, hey, man, that's out of our hands. Like, I got nothing to do with that. You guys, are you really going off the deep end over Jimmy Kimmel? Can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion? Here, listen. Can you guys get back to the Maryland dad? Just get back to that, okay? You at least had an argument there. Wendy says, stop it now. It's stuck in my head. What's stuck in the head? Oakley Dokley? It's not my fault. I'm just saying. All right, when we come back, Negro nonsense. You don't want to miss it. It's an important one, and it involves the leadership over at the Newtown Allies for Change, okay? And it's a civil rights leader that is usually never mentioned. And you know this, all of you know this to be true, is Malcolm X. More people will run to the usual folks in civil rights, but Malcolm X is rarely spoken about. And if I could for a minute, can I give you a hint as to why? Malcolm X sounds like Reese on the radio. And there is a reason why he sounds like Reese on the radio. Because I love Malcolm X. I do. I try to tell a lot of people, they go, what you know about black history? I go, I'm a big fan of Malcolm X. They go, really? I go, yeah. Malcolm X is a measure of a man, the plight of man. He starts off blaming the world, kind of a hustler, making his ends, finds focus, finds an ideology, believes in it, then has an epiphany and becomes a completely different person, a uniter, a person who believes and finds out that the world that he had been living in, the world that he had been brought up with, is absolutely fiction. It's like he's coming out of the Matrix. When Malcolm X talks about going to Mecca, it's a rebirth. When he talks about how he got to Mecca, he saw all walks of life in Mecca. He came back a changed man. And when he did, the people who had raised him up, the Nation of Islam, sought to murder him. He's my hero. If you think I'm out of sorts, this is what Malcolm X said about the black community in Harlem.
Because in Harlem, we need a hospital more so than anything else. Our people are sick. Plus, we do a lot of cutting and shooting of each other, though we profess to be nonviolent.
Just in case you missed it.
Because in Harlem, we need a hospital more so than anything else. Our people are sick. Plus, we do a lot of cutting and shooting of each other, though we profess to be nonviolent.
Yeah. That's why they don't mention Malcolm X. Because he told the truth, even about his so-called own people. Negro Nonsense features Malcolm X when we return. Okay? Stand by for that. Plus, we've got other news and other views. I didn't forget about you. Plus, your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Where your civil rights is at? Get in the chat room. You know you come here for Negro Nonsense. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, buddy.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We got Negro Nonsense coming up in a little bit, so stand by for that. Let me see if I got some time for my good friend Matty O, who was in the chat room saying some blasphemous things about Star Trek versus Star Wars. How dare you, sir?
Well, I mean, only one of us is right. We both know that's me, Mr. Hopkins.
No, it is wrong. Listen, I will admit Star Trek is a very cerebral and very intelligent space odyssey. Okay, but the Holy Trilogy is the Holy Trilogy. It is the thing that holds the whole glue together when we're talking about sci-fi adventure, as it were. Now, if I want to watch a sci-fi episode where a bunch of people intellectually figure out intergalactic affairs, sure, Star Trek is your cup of tea.
Don't get me wrong. I love the first three original Star Wars.
Yes, that's why I said the Holy Trilogy. That's why I said the Holy Trilogy.
Yeah, but Jar Jar Binks and all that, they jumped the shark.
Misa garbage.
Yeah.
Misa racial stereotype.
Yeah.
Yes, Jar Jar Binks was a complete mess. I will admit that. So
complete mess. George Lucas went off the train. I don't know what he was thinking with that.
You know what? He will always bother me. In fact, you know what's so funny? I'm going to share with you. This is actually true because we got to go to break. But a reporter by the name of David Hinckley wrote a radio report in the back of the Daily News about my review of Revenge of the Sith. And it was because I said that George Lucas was so horrible making that movie, he shouldn't be allowed to hold a disposable camera after. I got to go. Let's get a check of weather and traffic with my good friend, Mark Christopher. Hey, buddy.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let's do it.
Negro Nonsense.
How dare you?
Negro Nonsense.
How dare you?
Negro Nonsense.
How dare you?
That's right. In today's edition of Negro Nonsense, we go to the Newtown Allies for Change. Yes, we have been talking about them over and over again, but this is an interesting one. So, the Newtown Allies for Change is an organization, as you can see here if you're looking online. They have all these squiggly lines on the side, and it's for black, brown, and indigenous, and people of color. The objective is to put a focus on people outside of the white race. Racial justice, restorative justice in some cases. But the interesting part is that if you go on their website, which I've done for the last couple of days, I'm looking at the members who are on there, the executive board members, the chair, the vice chair. And white folks outnumber this group 4-2, which I thought was odd. I mean, the chair is Kate McGrady, and the vice chair is a black woman, I suspect. She appears to be of mixed race, but, person of color nonetheless, Nicole Maddox. And then as you work on, you get the Danielle Lozer, the woman we were talking about. Wendy Leon Gambetta, she's also on there, a white woman. And then we have another white woman, Laura Main, and then Don Lococo, another white male. It is dominated by white folks who are supposed to be telling everybody else in Newtown that they're a bunch of racists, which I find odd. And the reason why I call this Negro Nonsense, because I'm saying to myself, how is it that white folks get to tell black folks or run what can only be described as a black organization for change? Why wouldn't they do that? But I started thinking about Malcolm X. And Malcolm X actually did talk about this. He talked about how whites never solved the problems they kept promising us for a long time. He talked about John F. Kennedy. He talked about the 8 Supreme Court justices who were liberals. who made the decision of Brown and Board versus Board of Education? Yes. Out of the 9 justices, 8 of them were liberals.
9 years ago, 9 more white liberals, so-called, came up with what they call a Supreme Court desegregation decision, and the problem is still here. And then another white man named Kennedy came along running for president and told Negroes what all he was going to do for them if they voted for him, and they voted for him, 80%. He's been in office now for 3 years, and the problem is still here. When police dogs were biting black women and black children and black babies in Birmingham, Alabama, that Kennedy talked about what he couldn't do because no federal law had been violated. And as soon as the Negroes exploded and began to protect themselves and got the best of the crackers in Birmingham, then Kennedy sent for the troops. And there was no, he didn't have any new law when he sent for the troops when the Negroes erupted than he had at the time when whites were erupting. So we are within our rights and with justice, with justification, when we express doubt concerning the ability of the white man to solve our problem, and also when we express doubt concerning his integrity, concerning his sincerity. Because you will have to confess that the problem has been around here for a long time, and whites have been saying the same thing about it for the past 100 years, and there's no nearer a solution today than there was 100 years ago.
Yeah, there ain't no solution, and there never will be, because the problem is the solution. That's how the whole thing's supposed to operate. Keep the problem there. Keep the black person wanting more. It's like a drug. One day, y'all's going to be free. That's the whole objective. Yes, elect us again. I swear, this time, y'all's going to be free. And sure enough, Negro nonsense ensues, and they keep voting for him. We ain't never going to vote for them Republicans. Y'all's going to get us free. Y'all keep telling us, but you never do. But what Malcolm X also said, which is so indicative of these folks over at the Newtown Alliance, it's this.
I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
He was talking about the NAACP there, but you know was what I'm talking about. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? This is the reason why they don't celebrate Malcolm X.
I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
That's exactly right. And we must talk about those particular individuals who allow said white folks to be in front and then make the excuse like, well, we got to put them up in front because they got all the influence. We can't be in front. We got to put them in front because they won't listen to us. Yeah. That's the reason why white supremacy exists. And I've said this a long time, and I'll continue to say it. There's no such thing as white supremacy. It's called white acceptance. That's the definition. Just today, I got forwarded some video by a white woman talking about W.E.B. Du Bois. And my response to him was, why is it that you so-called black nationalists are always quoting white folks who agree with you, as if to say it's only legitimate if white folks agree? We call that white supremacy where I come from. That the white man's ice is colder. You need him to qualify what you believe. See, the white man said it, so it must be true. Can it just be true? Do you not need a qualifier? Now, I know that I've said this before, and I'm not going to belabor it, but the truth of the matter is, as I said, to a lot of these so-called civil rightsers, the ones who are standing up for black folks, they know that everything that I'm saying right now is true. They know it. They need those qualifiers. They need those allies. Because just like those white liberals use black folks use them white liberals. It's a marriage of convenience, even though deep down, they really don't respect each other. The white liberals see them as cattle, people who need help. That's why I'm here, so I can help you rise up. And the black man saying, so I'm going to get stuff for free? Don't be mad. I get the relationship. I don't approve of all marriages, but you do what you will. It's a free country. Yeah. You didn't know W.E.B. Du Bois was white. He wasn't, sir. He was black. But just like Margaret Sanger used Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., W.E.B. Du Bois was used at the NAACP. Do a little bit of research. You'll find no black person invented it. It was not started by blacks. Blacks were incorporated in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Do you think blacks would have called themselves colored? Really? He was a figurehead. Because, again, for their mission to succeed, they needed to put a face out there. Go find out the difference between he and Booker T. Washington and why Booker T. Washington talked about W.E.B. Du Bois as a grievance hustler. You should know your history. Yesterday, we were talking about Eric, and I was giving him a shout-out because he was concerned that black history was going to be wiped off the face of the earth. And the interesting part is that no one's ever paying attention to the actual history that's already been removed. Booker T. Washington is nowhere to be found. Nowhere. They don't even consider him. So I would just say, maybe do a little bit of research on your own. Stop waiting for the white man to tell you where your history is. Donald Trump can't do it. You should. And stop being lazy. That's just my point. Let me go to, you know what? I'm not going to take a phone call. I'll take it at the end of the show, as I always do. Go look them up, folks. Go look them up. Ask yourself, just ask yourself, why? That's all you have to do is just ask yourself why. And if you're wondering why I do it, it's for that reason alone. We get told this nonsense all day, every day, what we're supposed to believe and what we're supposed to think. I got people now telling me, I know you go after us because that's what they pay you to do, and if you don't do it, they're going to fire you. You don't really think that I'm in here. You don't really think that I'm here at the behest of a paycheck. You really think that I'm bought?
Yeah, you get paid under the table.
These people actually think that I'm bought and paid for. I do a job here. That's what this is called. It's a job. Remember, I did like 3 years part-time. Do you remember that? And then was hired. They could have kept me part-time. I could have just continued to do my podcast. I chose to take the job. No one recruited me. I wasn't picked up and dragged over here. You make those excuses because the truth is, sir, you are bought and paid for. Because the minute somebody gives you a handout, oh, you will sing their praises. You will sing them loud and clear. I always wonder, like, who are the real Stevens from Django? Is Al Sharpton? He takes a lot of white money, don't he? I mean, that man makes over $600,000 a year on a show that no one watches. And he owes over $2 million in back taxes and never gets arrested for it. And no one ever asked the question about whether or not he's bought and paid for or whether or not he's protected. Not one person bothers to ask, huh? I find that odd. Find it strange, too. But here we are. It's an uncomfortable truth because it's uncomfortable. Bob says, it's a conservative station. You are a conservative. What's not to understand? The objective that I'm bought and paid for. No one tells me what to say, my friend. And I think that's what it is. I think that what people are really revealing in all of this is, and that's what it is. It's this suggestion that they tell him what to say, and he says what they want him to say and what they want to hear, which would give the impression that, what are you doing? Because I'm still trying to figure out, with over 75% of the African-American community being anti-gay, how is it that you all just signed up? What did they do? Did they buy your silence? It's funny how the NAACP knows that education is cratering in the black community, but for some odd reason won't support vouchers or school choice. And then when you look behind the curtain, you find out there's a hell of a lot of money going into their coffers. Millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. But nobody ever calls them bought and paid for. And if you do, you're never outraged about it. You call it business as usual. I'm the bought and paid for one. I'm the one that brings that up. I'm the one that attacks these groups. The ones that run around using race as a cudgel. These ones who attack people and extort people over race. I'm the bad guy. I'm the step and fetch it. And you think I'm going to be intimidated by the likes of you. There's a reason why you come here every week on Thursday, even if you don't listen. What I do here is important to you, and I appreciate that. Just remember to tip your waitresses. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with your phone calls. I hear that ICE has seized a community leader in Hartford, which I'm trying to figure out if I'm getting this right. This person was a community leader and an illegal in Hartford. Everybody knew it. And apparently the Hartford Courant knows anything and everything there is to know about this individual except why he was detained. I'll explain that to you in a little bit. And again, look at this piece. I've got 1, 2, 3. It's a 4-page story. I know more about this activist. I know more about this man, except for why he was detained. We'll talk about that when we get back, okay? So stand by. Let me see. What's tomorrow? Friday? Okay, I don't know if Roseanne's going to be here tomorrow, but I'm hoping that she's going to be from Ladies' Night because her audience awaits her. Her audience awaits her. Do we have anything else that we have to do tomorrow? You're here, right? You're not going anywhere, Roland, are you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, all right, you're here. I don't know if Mark Christopher is here tomorrow.
Yeah, he's here.
He is here tomorrow. Okay, he did say that. He said he's going to be here tomorrow. Was there anything else that I needed to actually promote? We don't have any more contests. We don't have any more. I'm spinning my wheels. I'm just waiting for the break to come in. I'm just rambling until we get to the break. There we go. Let's just get to Mark early. When we come back, we'll get your phone calls. Also, we'll give a little bit of what happened was, and then we'll talk about this ICE story in Hartford, Connecticut. All right, so call up. Get on the phone, 860-522-WTIC. Here's Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
Okay, by the way, I do want to make sure that everybody does understand that that my guest today, Wendy in Newtown, and I want to thank her for being a part of the show. But if I didn't say this, I would be absolutely a horrible person if I didn't. She's newly single, just so you know. Now, I just want to let you know that if it doesn't work out, I had nothing to do with your hookup, okay? I'm just telling you that, just so you know. And the best part about it is that, and I do want to say this, if I can say so in her, on her behalf, she can write check, she's got that, she can knock home girls out, you know what I'm saying? So she's a tough lady. So just to let you know that, so she can take care of her own. So a lot of you guys are looking for a lot of you guys looking for somebody who can carry their own, you know what I'm saying? If you get one or, you need somebody to, knuckle up for you. Wendy's she's just one of those ladies, okay? I'm kidding, Wendy. I'm kidding. She'll be mad at me. Speaking of better halves, my better half is on the phone. Hello, my dear. Hi, Roseanne.
Hello. Hi.
So,
oh, my gosh, I missed you so much. I'm so sorry. Everybody has to hear this, but yeah, it's been gone a week. We will be staying at Keesler Air Force Base tonight, and we will be home tomorrow.
Okay, so
I will be there in time to be on the show.
Okay, so you will be, what's your ETA, do you think? Like afternoon or early morning?
So it's a 9-hour drive from Keesler, so we're leaving Alabama at 4 a.m.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, you guys you've been, traveling safe so far. Continue to do that. I miss you. Can't wait to hear. I do want to say to you before we go to a break that because you were gone, I lost 5 pounds. So when you get here,
Wow.
when you get home, can you help me find it? So,
It was the lack of snackies. I'm convinced.
yes, it probably was, but I'm
sure I picked up the 5 pounds you lost.
No, that's okay. I look at it this way. It's because you weren't here and I haven't been feeding myself regularly. So I've been eating if eating anything, I'm maybe 1, maybe 2 meals a day because I told you I don't cook. So, but at least I'm not starving.
Should I send one of the neighbors over to check on you, bring you some food?
Actually, 2 have already been here. They have.
Really?
Yes. Heather and Priscilla have both come by to check on me to find out if I was alive. They didn't want me. They didn't expect me. They expected me to be, passed out on the floor, but crawling for food or picking up crumbs. So no, I'm fine.
Emaciated
emaciated. Yeah. So all right, safe travels. I miss you. I can't wait till you get home.
I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow, and I look forward to talking to everybody. Bye, Roland.
Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Tomorrow, we're going to talk about this Connecticut State Police story. But apparently they're issuing new guidance following protester arrest on the overpass in Hartford. You remember, I've been talking about that a little bit. Because I thought it was like all of these climate activist folks on an overpass where there's a whole bunch of traffic sucking in a bunch of carbon dioxide. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the ACLU is now fighting for a lot of these folks who have been arrested and charged for these protests. They say it's a free speech issue, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. Bear with me a little bit before we end the show because I want to read this, and I wanted this to be a part of the show earlier. ICE seizes community leader at Connecticut court check-in, immigrant group says. Hartford immigrant advocates are calling for the release of a community activist who was reportedly taken by federal ICE agents during a routine immigration check on Wednesday. Victor Sanchez is a member of the Make the Road Connecticut and Hartford Deportation Defense, who has been in the U.S. since 2004 and is facing imminent deportation after he was detained, according to those groups. Advocates say that Sanchez is a dedicated community leader, a business owner, an active member of his church, Our Lady of Sorrow, and a member of the Knights of Columbus. Sanchez overcame a drinking problem to become a leader in Alcoholics Anonymous, helping others find sobriety, and has attended all appearances and immigration check-ins as required by court, they said. Quote, his work has included organizing food drives, supporting campaigns for worker justice like Fair Work Week, providing support for neighbors looking for legal assistance, and creating safe spaces for dialogue among people fighting for their rights. As a result, he has built deep-rooted connections within his community where he has lived, worked, and raised his family, a release from the groups said recently. Immigrant allies held a rally outside the Abraham Ribicoff Federal Building Wednesday evening, calling for ICE to release Sanchez and showing their support for his family. During the rally, Sanchez's daughter and son, ages 17 and 19, spoke about the pain of having their father and best friend taken. Sanchez and his wife also have a 27-month-old child. Costanza Segovia of Hartford Deportation Defense said at the rally the presidential administration that has aggressively increased immigration enforcement is attacking people seeking a better life and creating a racially motivated atmosphere of fear. I want you to remember that part. This has to stop. You are the ones that can make it stop. You have to talk to the governor, Segovia said. They are taking people who are doing everything right. They're taking minors. They're taking students, people with protected status. We have to be very clear about what this project is about. We have to stand up against it. Now, folks, in all of that, There has been no discussion, not even an inquiry, as to why, after all of this time, some 21 years, why he has been detained at an immigration check-in. No one even bothered to ask. And as I said to everyone before, why does this reporting keep happening? Why is it that no one asks ever? Why is he being held? Did anyone release it? This is not, remember, everybody's talking about due process. And we know that the Trump administration is very eager to be transparent. When people start screaming and hollering, remember what happened when the Abrego Garcia story came out. Sure enough, the administration said, okay, you guys want to stand up for this guy? Here's some video. Here's some other stories. Oh, and he beat his wife. Sure enough, people tried. They tried to hold on to it because they didn't want to seem fickle. They were trying to hold on. They were coming up with everything. They kept saying, due process. It doesn't matter. He deserves due process. After a while, he was gone. It's over now, right? Notice, nobody's talking about it. Where are the headlines? Gone. Then we had the case of the young man at Meriden High School, right? Oh, we're going to say his name during graduation. We're even going to hold an empty chair for him. Oh, and he's going to get an honorary graduation certificate for all of his hard work. He was on the honor roll. We reached out to find out why he was being detained with his father. Nothing. We called up the mayor. Hey, did you bother to ask? Hey, anybody talk to the mother? Hey, WFSB, have you followed up with the family or the family's attorney as to what happened at his detainment hearing? No, not a word. No one's even reached out to them to tell them the status. And then, poof, the story's gone. No one even cares. Hey, by the way, since we're on the topic, what happened to the Newington 7? Remember? John Larson, wasn't he losing his mind? I mean, he said that those folks were rounded up by the Nazis. Isn't that what you said, John Larson? I remember it like it was yesterday.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourselves.
Mark in West Hartford went down to the Newington gas station / car wash to talk to one of the detained members' brothers. Hey, is John Larson or the mayor been by to come by and see how you folks are doing? Offered you any shelter or any legal advice? No. No one's been here. No one's talked to us. Oh, they grabbed the cameras now, didn't they? They got every camera they could. Hey, hi, can you guys come down here? Yes, we're going to scream and holler about the immigrants that we're not going to even bother to go visit. Yes, come on down here. Yes, absolutely. Yes, John Larson's going to be here. Mm-hmm. No. He'll be upright. Yes, he'll scream and holler for a little bit. We'll try to keep him. We don't want another episode. Where's all the reporting? Even the investigative reporters. They're doing nothing. Where's all of this? We're talking 4 pages. No story about why he's been detained. Why don't they want us to know? Why don't they want us to know? I want to know. Don't you? We're being told that they're just rounding up kids and people everywhere in every walk of life. They're just grabbing them. Yeah. They're hanging out outside of schools, Josh Elliott. Who was the one who said that they were hanging out outside of schools? I got to get who that was because I have their info right here. I've got a whole list of them, of the things that they said that they were doing. They were hanging outside of schools. Was that Jim Himes who said that they were outside of the schools? They were there waiting for them? Waiting for him to come out for gym class? Get over here, Consuelo. Get over here. How old are you? 9? How long have you been in this country? How long? Get in a van. Get in a van. We're going to deport you and put you in a detention center. No, grab your Lunchable. Grab your Lunchable. Yes, it's going to be a long day. That's what they're telling us. That's what they told us. They even lied and said that the ICE officers held a 5-year-old autistic girl hostage. Held her hostage for her dad to come out. Come out, Manuel. We've got your 5-year-old child. We've got her. She's standing out here. If you want to see her again, come on out. And then they wonder why people are outraged at shootings. This guy, and it turns out the crazy part about this kid, this 29-year-old kid, according to published reports, the guy didn't even know how to shoot. He was just firing indiscriminately at a van. He didn't care who was inside. Risking the lives of the people that bozo says that he was trying to protect. He ended up killing a detainee. And the interesting part about it is that there has been more of a discussion about whether or not this kid was on the left or whether or not he was incited or whether or not the incitement came from the left. If the incitement came from the likes of Chris Murphy or Bob Larson or anybody else for that matter. The conversation isn't even about that. No one has even identified the detained. There hasn't even been a discussion. They could George Floyd this guy now. Right now. They could say he was in the crosshairs of a fight between the righteous and the evil. The Trump administration put that detainee's life in danger. This would have never happened if they wouldn't been going out there rounding people up. And now, whatever this young man's name is dead. But no, have you noticed? No one has ever brought him up. No one even knows his name. Do you? Have you read a report talking about him? I haven't. And it's my job to look it up, and trust me, I have. But no one cares either. They haven't even used him as a pawn. That I find striking. As much as it is my job to pay attention to what people say, I love paying attention to the things that they don't. And when they can't tell us why these folks are being detained when they know that that's a question that they should be asking, it's all you need to know. Because that's not important. We got every fabric of his life. Part of the community in Alcoholics Anonymous. Helping people. Works at the food bank. Donates 10% of his paycheck. Walks his kids to school. Doesn't litter. Plants trees. Owns a garden. Takes his wife out for dinner. Favorite sneaker. Shoe size 11 and a half. We can find out anything we can in this article. It's just nothing that's relevant at all. Nothing. Favorite singer, Selena. This is anything that we don't need to know right there. Why is he being detained? Yeah, we didn't ask that. Should you have? Oh, we didn't think of that. Is anyone going to ask? Maybe. Has anybody bothered to ask since you wrote the story? No. That's all I'm saying, folks. That's all I'm saying. These people are the worst. They're just the worst. But, I don't know. You notice I haven't even talked about the kid in Meriden anymore, right? Because no one will talk to me. And all I asked a simple question. That was literally every question that I asked anyone involved. Hey, did we find out why he's been detained? Nope. Hey, have you talked to the lawyer? Nope, not answering the phone calls. Do you have a telephone number for the lawyer? Nope. Have you heard from the lawyer? Nope. Do you care? I'll get back to you. Seriously, I don't know. What's the kid's favorite video game? Call of Duty. I love these people. We got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Roseanne will be here. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm glad she was safe the whole time. Let me tell you this. This is the absolute truth. The whole time that she was gone, every night I went to bed, I kept saying to myself, please don't get into it. Please be safe. Please be safe. Please be safe. Because I drive Roseanne everywhere. I don't even allow her to drive. Sometimes when we're going long distance, like we'll go to visit her cousin, which is 2 hours away, she will turn around and go, she was like, do you want me to drive? I'm like, no. So the fact that she's been driving this long and this far, it's got me nervous. So I make sure she calls me every time she stays. Like, where are you staying? You okay? You all right? No. So that's where we are. All right, so we'll be back to do this tomorrow. Also, we'll check in with Keith Olbermann. I'm worried about this guy, but Keith Olbermann's really, somebody's off their meds. It's really, really bad. New York Post has got a story about him. It says, countdown to blow up. You might want to check it out. Anyway, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Mark Christopher, he's going to get you home. He's in the BPS Driving Center. Good night, sir.
Hey, Reese, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow if you're heading on the westbound side of 84 into downtown.
All right, good sir.
Thank
you.
A
little bit of a slowdown as you move through downtown Bulkley Bridge.
Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, now I'm going to find something to eat because I'm starving.
Oh, you got to.
84 eastbound, moving well.
I'm probably going to ride my bike to the store because I have no car.
Wowzers.
32 A and B.
Roseanne's like, maybe we should get another car. I'm like, I don't want another car.
That is in good shape.
Nah, you don't want them payments.
Nope. Open in Windsor, 290
See you mañana.
OK2 East.
See you mañana.
Glastonbury.
Okay, so as promised, nobody go anywhere. Nobody go anywhere. So this woman talks about this thing. This book that her child brought home. And if you'll bear with me for a minute here, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the video and play it for you. And it was sent to me by Kathleen. And I have to find out where her link is here because she sent it to me yesterday. Here's Kathleen right here. And I need to play this for you because what this woman described in her classroom or in her home that was revealed by her child is absolutely insane. Is this no, let me just make sure that I got it right. I think this is it here. Is this the video? No, that's just a picture. I'm sorry. That's just a picture. You have to bear with me for a minute because that's that video. Wendy, did you send it to me? Wendy, was it you who sent me this video? Maybe it was you. Let me double check. Yes, you did. Okay, listen closely, folks. Here it is. This is the woman who is talking about her child and the book that he brought home.
If I provided similar content to children with the same graphic images and descriptions of sexual acts, I would be arrested. It's a Class D felony in Connecticut to provide minors with such materials, yet it's in our libraries. I find it incredulous that this is being asked to be included under the guise of inclusivity. You mean to tell me that we cannot find books that support diversity and inclusion, which I am all for, without having to include graphic and sexual content? I send my child to school to learn skills like math, reading, and science, not to learn about games that require drinking others' bodily fluids and talking about sucking dick. Really?
Yeah. That's what was in the book, in the library.
I am requesting that the board revise current policy related to acquiring materials implement policies and procedures that safeguard our children from materials that are inappropriate for their age and understanding, and remove all content that is not suitable. The same care should be taken when selecting books as it is when labeling music and movies. If you do not take action, you are complicit, and you are susceptible to the same legal action as those who are providing the content to our children.
An incredible speech, but yeah, described perfectly. That's the book. Now you understand why I couldn't read it on the air or play it on the air. And there you go. All right, folks. You know I love you. Y'all be good to each other. We'll see you mañana.